What's going on, guys? BladeZilla here, and today we have an extremely special one from Alexey Konygin, and this is a full custom from the recent Recon 1 Invitational that I was lucky enough to get something from, which is awesome. They had some heavy hitters this past December, and you know, I was crossing my fingers actually for this knife, and as well as some Shiro full customs. And the full customs didn't go through, obviously. Those are, you know, everybody enters them, but I feel like this full custom is kind of flying under the radar a little bit. And we're going to go into it, and it is an incredible knife. I've already taken a quick peek at it, but that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's crack this guy open. But first, as a reminder, check out the website, BladeZilla.ca. We are in Canada, have lots of cool stuff available for sale. Just added a bunch of these reconnaissance add-ins. Unbelievable knife. Beautiful knife that's flying under the radar. A bunch of Shiros. Some Konigs are up there, some Microtechs, Protechs, Wingman EDC, all kinds of cool stuff. But that's the site. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about this gorgeous knife. So let's crack it open. First of all, this case, really cool. Really strong leather smell. It's definitely the real deal. So let's crack it open. It seems like it's accessible from both sides. This is new for me, so you kind of have the one side and then you can't open it the other way. I'm not sure how that's beneficial, but it's kind of cool. It's just like a cool wrap. This cloth is very Shiro-esque. In fact, I think it's the same size, other than we've got a little Alexey Konygin logo on there. That's cool. Okay, the meat and potatoes of it. Can we just collectively take this knife in? I don't know how long this video is going to be. I can already tell you it's going to be longer than 10 minutes. Wow. Okay. This knife, fit and finish wise, it is up there with, to me, Shirogorov's custom division, without a doubt. The milling work, the lines, the attention to detail, it's certainly at that level, and maybe more. We'll kind of look into the details. Like I said, I flipped this open real quick to film a short and haven't really paid too much attention to it, but oh my goodness. Let's even look at the milling on that White CarboTi. Stepped down as if it was made of titanium. This is a stunner. The beveling on the hardware. Wow. Even the rounding and all the millwork on those pockets on the scale. It's just so different. We're going to talk about the pins. We're going to talk about a lot. I have a feeling this is going to be a nice one. Let's crack it open. Let's get some measurements. Oh, look at that blade. Oh my God. That is incredibly well done. We've kind of got two separate angles, obviously, on the satin. Oh, just gorgeous fit and finish on this. Other side, let's take a peek. Same thing, just gorgeous. It's you know, every now and then, like, you've heard of Alexey Konygin, they've been around for a bit, or he's been around for a bit. And truthfully, you really don't see much on the custom front. They're just not common, or maybe they're not doing it as much. Maybe he's more of a knife designer. I don't really know. But this is just at a level I was not expecting. And it's, all right, I need to take a chill pill here, I think, and just kind of hit the reset button and get some measurements on this one, because it's pretty special. So we're coming in overall length 8 and I'd say 3/4, maybe 8 7/8. Probably 8 7/8 is what I'm guessing is what the paper measurement will be. I don't have a spec sheet for this as well, just so you guys know. Blade length will be sub 4, probably 3 3/4 sharp. Yeah, 3 3/4. Maybe a little bit more to the center of the trail, 3 7/8, depending on how you want to measure it. And then that handle is going to be 5 1/4. So really just good size overall, I'd say. It's got a little bit of weight to it. It's going to be, you know, if it's a 4, oh god, this is just stunning. If it's a 4-inch blade, sub 4, right around 4, it's probably, just based on feel, feels like it's a hair over 4 ounces in that conversation. So let's get a weight on this. I'm going to say 4.5 maybe? Low 4s? 4.4. 4.4 ounces on my high-end Amazon scale. Actually, it's a name brand scale. Wow. Anyway, so 4.4 ounces for roughly, you know, just a hair under, you know, 3 3/4, 3 3/8, 3/9 inch blade. Really good size. That hand rub satin is just shining bright like a diamond. It's almost verging like on a. There's almost like a mirror in the background. It's hard to explain, but it's done incredibly well. Hopefully the camera can pick that up. You can see the reflection of my tripod, but it is very unique. And I believe it's M398. I haven't confirmed this, but apparently it's written on the knife somewhere of what steel it is. So we'll find that as we kind of go here. This, like I said, might be a longer video. But I think it's M398. But let's, you know what, maybe let's just do a quick drive around this thing. See if we can see any, oh, is there something? There it is. That was easy, it's quick. M398, that seems to be hand etched as well. That's not a stamp, giving you that more of a full custom feel. Let's see what's on the inside of this as well, if that's hand etched. I love these knives. This is a special one. And I'm sorry, I've seen a lot of knives, and I get absolutely giddy like a little schoolgirl when something of this caliber rolls through. Okay, so we've got milling on the inside of both the tie and the White CarboTi. We've got the handles that are obviously pressed together without a backspacer, which is unique in its own right. Very well done. We've got pockets of material taken out on the titanium, obviously. The White CarboTi, we do have pockets on the inside of that for balance, more so towards the front. Hopefully you can see that. Pretty cool. And then even, yeah, that's wild. They're matching the White CarboTi, the pockets just on the inside there. They're matching the tie inside. That's cool. We've got an internally attached clip, which is just robotic and robust in nature. Oh my god, I need to just like seriously take a chill pill here. I'm getting a little too excited about this one. We've got these real nice notches that are matched on both sides, cut in. An external lock bar bend. We've got, it appears to be some kind of flats on the actual titanium, which look terrific as well. And then we've got a blasted finish on kind of the parts of the knife that are kind of a little more down from the flat. The clip as well, you'll notice the clip, the two tops of that are matched for height here, and they're both kind of planed flat. And then the lower parts are stone washed on a clip. Or are they stone washed? Sorry, that's got to be blasted. Wow. Just that alone, that detail on a clip. Usually a clip's like stamped out of a piece of whatever and screwed on, and it's like whatever, but it's like, oh yeah, no, we're going to take the fit and finish of the titanium and we're going to apply it to the clip, and we've got multiple different spots on that clip alone that are finished in the same regard. Wow. The milling below the flats here also look terrific. Super cool. You know, it's giving me It's giving me some Shiro Cami vibes a little bit. It's got some Sinkovich vibe to it. Once again, you've got the hardware that's not centered for the pivot, which is so sick. Beveled on both sides, probably done by hand, I'm guessing, just based on looking at it. You've got a lock bar insert and over travel stop. It's hanging down there. Really nice. Light lockup. Super silky smooth. I believe he uses ceramic bearings, from what I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe they run on ceramic. Just look at that reflection on that blade. This is a hand-rubbed satin. Like, it's like hand-rubbed mirror satin. It's very cool. Freaking the camera out. Anytime something shiny freaks this camera out, to me, that's a home run. Real nice centering. And I would even argue that blade is overhanging just a hair. You look at that, you're like, oh, it seems to be overhanging a little bit. But then you look at it from a side profile and it's completely covered. So I'm kind of wondering if that is intentional, because that's just really cool. Totally protected. You're not going to poke yourself or anything. It's just lined right up. That's so cool. And then from the back side, you can kind of see, yeah, it's not overhanging whatsoever. Just the angle. So cool. The White CarboTi, I believe that was the last month of that. That was a 2024 for the Recon 1 Invitational. So as you know, we've had a number of knives come through in that configuration. A handful. I think I've been entering every single lottery on every single knife basically they've had, with a very few exceptions. You know, they're all hand-selected makers, all one-offs, and make for some great knives. So I've had some, what have I had on the lottery hits this year? I've had a couple come through, and just search White CarboTi. I'm sure it's pop up 2 or 3 other ones, but this one is probably the best that I've seen. The Mayo is really nice as well, but the Tom Mayos are a lot more subdued in nature, a little more classic in design. This is very futuristic in nature, very, like I said, very Sinkovich-esque. Big pockets, right? If you will have recalled, I had some were they F95s or Quantums? I can't recall if they're F95s or Quantum. It'd probably make more sense if they were Quantum. Konygin Quantums, they're F95, whatever. And I recall the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pockets that they had, and when you opened them, they were kind of see-through, right? And that's just so cool to kind of gain a little bit of a window inside the knife, see some of that milling on the titanium, how it's stepped. I just love that in nature. It's such a cool way to take in a knife. The White CarboTi pops with the light as well when you move it around. I have a window in front of me right now, and I also have a big 3-foot dome of light over top me. So hopefully the light's kind of just bouncing. You can kind of see. I'm not currently with a macro lens, so you're not going to see the true depth to it. But I will tell you, it is a beautiful and gorgeous material that, you know, the light certainly has an impact on what it looks like with time. And it's at a weight for this knife. You know, a lot of people don't typically like carbon because it makes the knife feel a little light. That is not the case on this one. It feels like a robust full-tie knife. Let's talk about these pins here. This gives me so many Sinkovich vibes on the Shiro side. You know, I recall there's been a few knives, but mainly the Cordinal comes to mind with this pin system that they used to do. And when done correctly, it is just so subtle in nature. Most people wouldn't really pay attention to it, but it's detail that is very difficult to do when you're making a custom knife. And from what I'm seeing here, this is executed very, very well. Some of the best. This is at a different level than I was expecting. And I got flavors of that when I did that Konygin Shiro collab knife. I think it was a brown one or something. And you know, I got a taste of it at that time, and I was like, man, this is done really, really, really well. And there's some pressure, some kickback on, I think they were double or triple the price of a table version. And you know what? The truth is in the pudding, and this is just a stunning example. That pin is just gorgeous. We once again go back to the kind of jimping on the back of the handle, that pressed together design. And now that I'm seeing this, I recently did a video on a CKF knife that flew completely under the radar in my opinion, and I started that video off talking about it, and I remember this specifically, how these two sides are pushed together in the back, and I started it off going in my head thinking it was a pretty basic knife and just really well executed keep it simple stupid type knife. And then as I went through the knife, I think it was called the Brat, the CKF Brat, I started looking at the angles and starting to look at the detail work, and I was like, man, this thing is done so well. There's a lot of subtleties in this knife. And by the end, you know, another 10-minute video that turned to 20, I think. And I recall specifically how they completely got rid of the back spacer and instead pushed the two materials together. And I talked about this, and I'm looking at this now, and I believe the Brat is, it has to be an Alexey Konygin design, because this is mimicking it in every way, right? You've got the big thick window. To get this to physically press together, you're shaving off so much material on both the titanium and the White CarboTi to bridge the gap between the two materials. Just look at that, because like this flat surface here is way pushed in front of, it's way out from this, right? So you're removing a ton of material just to do that. And clearly they did it on both the White CarboTi as well as the titanium. So that is so cool. We've got a spot for a lanyard hole, obviously. If you want to run a lanyard, go for it. I don't see why that wouldn't be a problem. The size of that hole matches really nicely with both the hardware and the holes in the handle. Everything's kind of just nicely done. Let's take a look on the inside here. We've got, once again, this is interesting. I'm trying to figure out what, this is just a design element, right? This little spot here, obviously executed perfectly, but I'm trying to figure out the purpose of that, right? So you have the spot for your lanyard hole, and then there's that little spot up top, but there is an opening there, so that's kind of unique in nature. Pretty cool. Action, silky smooth, crisp. It's definitely a knife that needs to be broken in, but you can tell it's just going to fire right out. It's a good looking knife. And very, it reminds me a lot of like an R.J. Martin and how this thing clips back in that cut, the detent ball. It's just real tight. Real nice action on it. Okay, let's look at some comparisons on some sizing, just in case we want to see what it looks like compared to a couple Shiros here that I have beside the case, as I usually do probably 5 minutes into a video, and I am completely oblivious to the timing on it. Let's do a couple, what do you want to do? We can do, let's do our standard neon quantum. So there's your neon. And we'll grab our quantum, and then we'll get into some more fun stuff. If I can find my quantum. I've got an E-Knives quantum here, and I don't know where my monkey edge one is, so we're going to do an E-Knives quantum. I prefer the monkey edge one personally. But there's your E-Knives quantum. That one doesn't get shown much. So, but anyway, There's your two sizes. So bigger, obviously full size. So we're gonna get rid of the neon and we're gonna do some more full size stuff. So let's do the bio. Shiro Bio. This is a Bio Dark. Let's do an Astrum as well. Super sick knife. Just put this one up as the knife of the year for 2024, the Astrum. Probably one of my most favorite carries recently. It's like a big neon. A pretty cool knife. We can do an RJ Martin Overkill, Russian full tie Overkill, which appears to be massive on screen, but let's put that down here. Remember how anything at the top of the screen will appear smaller and anything at the bottom of the screen appears bigger. So if I even move this down kind of central, put this, maybe that's the best way to do it, is kind of center everything. So there's your full tie RJ Martin, lovely knife. This particular one, I need to actually probably send it for a spawn because need some work on those screws there, but otherwise a great knife, never used. Somebody tried to open it with the wrong tool. Let's do a Custom Division F95. There you go. We'll do a Mayo Dr. Death. Great knife, full tie. Once again, you're seeing how my collection tends to err more towards full tie. Plain Jane tie is what I like. And then I had somebody ask me about this. I used it in another knife video before I'll do the other knife there. But this is a made in Alberta, Canada knife. It's the Pyrenees. Super sick knife, made down the road. More of a mid-tech kind of knife, but really good owner, really good staff, really good knife. Stang Blade Works. I have a video on that one on the channel already. And then where's my Scott Cook Loxa? There we go. And the piece de resistance as of late, the Scott Cook Loxa Shirogorov Russian Flipper. Super sick knife. I've got one up on the site right now. It's not this one, but I've got one up on the site right now. And I think that's going to be it for me to be able to get more of those. They're getting put away and the price is already once again climbing up and up and up. But I've got one up on there. Mine is not going anywhere. This is going to be a permanent knife. I love the Loxa. I did a video on this knife already. And other than it's a fingerprint magnet, it's just a super sick design. And you know, I would love to get one of these one day to as a carry. I'd like to try an authentic Loxa at some point. And then in terms of other Alexey Konygin stuff, well, I've got a bunch of CKFs here. I'm not going to open anything. It's all brand new. That's not mine, so I'm not going to open any of it. But I think that's going to be kind of it for comparison. I was hoping to have, there's a new CKF that's either come out by the time this video is out or is coming out. But I believe it was an Alexey Konygin knife, and that knife, let me just take a quick peek here at what one that one is called, and I think it was called, where is it here, the Essilop M, or Essilop, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyway, that's another one I was hoping to have at the same time as this to get a film in, but that one should be, I assume, available in the next couple weeks here. But what is your take on this knife? What do you guys think? From my perspective, this thing is nuts. Like nuts. Oh, the action, crisp, the detent, crisp. That hand-rubbed satin is just on another level from what I've seen. You know, it's, I would love to see a mirror polish on the top to kind of give it that Brat vibes. Right? Who's also, I believe, the designer of the CKF Brat. But that, to me, is such, you can just see it right away. That'd be sick if that was mirrored. But this may have been mirrored at one point underneath the sand-rubbed satin. It's just nuts. In terms of the knife itself in hand, you know what, guys? I don't think anyone's going to use this knife. It fits like a glove. I've got an XL hand, and it fits my hand like perfect, like absolutely perfect. Really good thickness. The jimping is just a tiny couple little bumps here. Hopefully you can see just a tiny couple bumps. Your finger falls right onto it. It's lipped as well. It's got an edge. It just fits perfect. The tip of the blade starts as a nice pinched edge, very much like that brat. Is it the brat? Anyway, it's pinched, and then it flows down the blade and actually opens up and adds a little bit of strength to the tip of that knife to provide some support. And yeah, just a real nice design. Real nice. You know what? I would love this knife made by, make me this knife, you know, CKF, make a $500 full tie version of this with some, well, maybe they're already kind of doing that, really, just without all the features and add-ons. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. And I'm thinking that when I've been saying brat, I think I've been kind of meaning the Barm, which, oddly enough, that would make way more sense, because, like, to me, this knife is very, very similar to that. It's obviously a little more, you know, in the layout. I'm trying to picture that knife in my head here, and they definitely had the same kind of on the Barm, same kind of tab ratio, right? That popped out a little bit. It same had the indented hand. It didn't have any of the texturing on the back on the jimping, but overall, just hand profile was fairly similar. Not exact, but it was fairly similar. So I guess the Barm was pretty close. When I was asking earlier, I was like, hey, give me a full tie variant of this for $500 to carry, because just it's such a comfortable knife. But I guess the Barm is kind of similar to that in a lot of ways. And I guess the fact that this is, I think, what was this called? The Barmaglot, I think, the Barmaglot. And there's a couple of variants. One had a nice big cut into the blade for balance. We'll check the balance on this. A little back heavy behind the pivot. Not too bad though. But had a big cut in the blade, full length, kind of a fuller, and looked really, really good. And then this one. So I think this one, I can't remember if this one was variant 1 or variant 2. I entered both. And this one may have been variant 2. Otherwise, I think it was the same knife, other than the fuller. But really cool, man. I'm shocked, and the pin system is just what gets me every time looking at this. And I'm hoping the lights, if you're watching in 4K, I'm hoping the light can kind of see all the layering on that White CarboTi and how much milling work, because often the dark color hides a lot of the milling that they've done to it. And I have heard that it's a material that if you do it wrong, you throw it out. So when it's done right, it lasts forever. It looks great. But hopefully the camera can pick up, if the light's hitting it right, all that milling around it. And then just the material taken off at the top to make that same patterning that's on the other side. That's just so sick. And I haven't even shown this on the heel of it. I didn't even really notice, but it's continued here. Wow. Owen Wilson. Wow. 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 That's a great knife. Wow. That's me right now. Just breath completely taken away. And I've not spent a whole lot of time on this backside. I'm sorry if I'm only focusing on the White CarboTi. The full tie side's just terrific as well. I talked about that clip, the stone wash, the bead blasting, which I assume is bead blasting to get that finish on it. The stepped milling as well. It's not just one layer of titanium. If I kind of roll this to show you, there's 3 different layers there. Can you see that right here above my thumb? There's 3 different layers. It's not just a visual line. It's actually rolled and cut to take that titanium down. Oh, wow. Wow. And that's all along both sides as well. Once again, that layering. It's like, what did they used to call that in school when they did, let's steps, I think. They used to farm on the side of a mountain and cut steps into it, and that's kind of what that reminds me of. Just still flat, but just stepped. So cool. And you're seeing that it's got to be hand done, that hardware. Wow. This has to be one of the nicest knives that has come through in quite a while on the custom side. Just knives that are clearly at a different level. Like, this is without a doubt worth its weight in gold, without a doubt worth its asking price. This is, I would love to know how many knives a year of full customs he's making, because it can't be many, and they do not come up for sale. And I feel like these are like completely under the radar. You know, from a design perspective, you see their designs all the time in a lot of the CKF stuff. You see it in now some Riot stuff. So they're out there. They're great designs, very Sienkiewicz-esque in nature, but unique and funky, and he has his own flavor to it, definitely, but certainly very funky designs. You know, they play. You look at how he plays on symmetry, and how it's nothing symmetrical, right? You look at the clip, not symmetrical. You look at the size and rotation and shapes of the holes, non-symmetrical. It's just funky, right? It's cool. You see through that. You see the blade in a lot of the designs. It's just so cool and unique. And I don't think he's making too many of them. And this is my first true example of a full custom done by him, and I love that M398. That's probably the best way to show it in an image. Right there. I just love it. I don't know if I want to get rid of this one. This one might, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'll have to think. I'll just sleep on it. Selfishly, I wish I could have hundreds of knives to myself and sit here and flip and play with them. But, you know, my rule's been, I love full tie, love plain Jane, love milling. The more the better. Add a little funk or flavor with like a Zircon clip. And that's been my rule. But there's also exceptions to every rule. And this might be one of those exceptions because of execution, in rarity, in materials, in design. It's just so different than anything I have. Wow. Jeez, I gotta stop saying that. Just sound like an idiot. Design elements that I don't like on this. Well, that, I don't know. Love the flipper tab. It's got a good ergonomic on it. This, I guess, pokes out a little bit from the blade. That little nub. You know, it pokes through the handle just a hair. I guess that would be my only question as to why. But I guess that turns into, yeah, that's a functional design. It doesn't really do anything. It's a non-functional part of the knife. This little nub here. So I don't know what that is for, why it sticks out. It's really not a big deal. I guess you could argue there's a gap here as well for that to the jimping, which once again, no one's going to care about. It just adds to the funk. Or you're looking at a knife full of holes in a non-symmetrical pattern. What's another one? It makes no difference to me. That would be it. I can't think, like, I'm a critical guy in nature on all of these knives, and I can't think of anything else I would really critique on this. Silky smooth action, great materials, M398, a number of layering and skill when it comes to execution on design. The hand rub blade is next level, one of the best I've ever seen. It's just done so well. Love the design. It just fits my hand so well too, which makes me angry because now I want it. You've got the cutouts. I didn't even show the cutouts for the flipper tab. That's a very Shiro-esque thing to do. The lock bar is raised. I don't know if you can see that. It's raised ever so slightly from one side. There's a cutout on the White CarboTi. It's not beveled or anything, so I guess you could kind of argue if you wanted to add a bevel there to add some level of further comfort. Sure, I guess I could argue that. But that's about it. I don't know what else I can critique on this knife. It's just done so well, and it makes me want this knife really, really bad. Oh, wow. So nicely done. Well, I guess that is the Alexey Konygin Barmaglot. And I don't know how to pronounce Barmaglot, but that's just what I think it's called, Barmaglot. I might be spelling it wrong or whatever. Oh, even the cutting up here. What? This is a gorgeous one. Yeah. Not sure what to do with this one. And that's such a good problem to have. Oh boy. Gorgeous knife. Gorgeous. Okay, well, I think I'm going to leave you there. I've probably gone on for half an hour unintentionally. This was supposed to be a quick, short, and sweet video. And I apologize, but I really don't, because you got to see a cool knife and listen to me talk like Owen Wilson for a few minutes, just blown away, just wowing it up. Hopefully I won't be that guy moving forward with everything, but sometimes a piece comes along that is just on a next level from what you're used to, and what you're used to is already at the premium end of things. This is going to be a very rare knife. There's only going to be a couple of them floating around, one-of-ones, and it's done very, very well at a very high level. And every now and then you have to kind of stop and smell the roses or smell the flowers to appreciate something of this caliber. And it's certainly not lost on me how well done it is. So there you go. Thanks for stopping by, spending your morning, night, evening, whatever with me, and enjoying a beautiful knife. I appreciate you. Check out the site, BladeZilla.ca. Throw a thumbs up on the YouTube video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. They're all there for you if you want to come chat and find me. Pretty simple. All right, guys. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your week. Happy or I guess Happy New Year's now. When you're watching this, Happy New Year's. And have yourself a fantastic rest of your week. Cheers, guys. Peace.